திருமலை யாத்திரை செல்ல வேண்டும் என் திருமலையப்பனை சேவிக்கவே.
ராதே ராதே. ஹரே ராம 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 ஹரே ஹரே, ஹரே கிருஷ்ண 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 ஹரே ஹரே, ஹரே ராம 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 ஹரே ஹரே, ஹரே கிருஷ்ண 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 ஹரே ஹரே, ஹரே ராம 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 ஹரே ஹரே, ஹரே கிருஷ்ண 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 ஹரே ஹரே. ரமா ரமண கோவிந்தா கோவிந்தா. சத்குரு மகாராஜ் கி ஜெய். ஞான வைராக்கிய சம்பூர்ணான் ஹரிபக்தி பராயணான் பூர்வ ஆச்சார்யான் அஹம் வந்தே சம்பிரதாய பிரவர்த்தகானே. ஹரே ராமேதி கிருஷ்ணேதி நாம சங்கீர்த்தனம் சதா லோகக்ஷேமாய குர்வந்தம் பிரேமிகம் சத்குரும் பஜே. கலிகாலோச்சிதம் தர்மம் நாம சங்கீர்த்தனாத்மகம் நிர்ணேதும் அவதீர்ணம் தம் பிரேமிகம் சத்குரும் பஜே. ராதிகா குச்சகஸ்தூரி குங்குமாங்கிதவக்ஷசம் ஸ்ருங்காரரசமூர்த்திம் தம் பக்தகோலாகலம் பஜே. கலயே சுந்தராகாரம் சதைகப்பிரியதர்ஷனம் அஜ்ஞானநாசகம் தேவம் சத்குரும் முரளீதரம். முரளீமண்டிதகரகமலம் முனிஜனமோகனம் व्यत्यस्तपादं वनमालाधारिणं प्रेमभक्तमण्डल नित्यकीर्तितं प्रेमिकवरदम् आश्रयेऽहं. श्रियपतिं जगन्नाथं सर्वदेवनियामकं नारायणं वासुदेवं शरण्यं शरणं भजे. वासुदेवस्य महिषीं नित्यां नित्यानपायिनीं कल्याणीं लोकजननीं कमलामाश्रये श्रियम्. अनन्तं गरुडं चैव तथान्यान् विष्णुपार्षदान् नित्यकैङ्कर्यनिरतान् नमामि नतवत्सलान्. अव्याजकरुणासिन्धून् आश्रितत्राणतत्परान् अनन्यनिष्ठान् श्रीजानेः भक्तानस्मत् गुरून् भजे. अव्याज प्रेम संपूर्णम अन्यदोषपराङ्मुखं वासुदेव प्रियं शुद्धं वन्द्ये वैष्णवमण्डलं. समस्तकल्याण गुणाभिरामं रमानिवासं रमणीयगात्रं सशङ्खचक्रं जगतां शरण्यं श्रीवेङ्कटेशं शरणं प्रपद्ये. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपापप्रणाशनं प्रणामो दुःखशमनः तन्नमामि हरिं परं. श्रीहरये नमः श्रीहरये नमः श्रीहरये नमः. सद्गुरु महाराज की जय. With the immense blessings of our beloved Guru Maharaj and by the costless mercy of Sri Madhuri Sakhi Sameta Premikavarada Thakurji and by the special kataksha of our own beloved Sri Aishwarya Srinivasa Perumal, we are all embarking on a journey of the soul to the lotus feet of the Lord in form of our weekly satsangs, Sri Venkateshwara Vaibhavam or Venkatachala Vaibhavam. In Kaliyugam, the only gati for us as per our shastras is kalau kalmashachittanam papadravyopajeevinam vidhikriya vihinanam ghatir govinda kirtanam. In this age where even if you want to live dharmically, this external pressures and internal structure of our own mind and psyche are not allowing us or giving us the strength or the conviction or the power to live in a righteous manner as laid out by our scriptures. What is the gati? What is the refuge? What is the way out for us? Gatir Govinda Kirtanam. Why? Vidikriya Vihinanam. We are not able to follow any of the scriptural mandates or rules or regulations. Vidhi Kriya. And we are not able to do, even if we don't have the mental framework of righteousness, even our actions, behaviors, our words and thoughts, our words and actions actually are not in line with the universal law called Dharma. So what is the way out for us? Vidhi Kriya Vihinanam Gatihi Govinda Kirtanam. Govinda, Govinda. That Kirtanam alone is our way out. And the second Gati for us is Sarvaloka Sharanya Shri Seshadri Shikara Prabho Abhayam Dehi Govinda Makhyam Dinaya Madhava. The other refuge for us is the wonderful Archavataras, Bhagavan's most compassionate descents, avatars, in form of a lovely deity in the various temples, notably the Lord of the Seven Hills, our Srinivasa Perumal. Our Aishwarya Srinivasa Perumal is our refuge. And that is the reason why whenever people approach Srinivasa Perumal, what do? Completely surrendering to the Perumal, with their hands raised above and folded, they all shout out the only Gati in Kali, in the front of the only Gati in Kali, which is Govinda Nama in front of Srinivasa Perumal. And hence, the path for us in Sanatana Dharma in Kali is Archavataras Sevanam, which is Archavataras worship, Nama Sankirtana. Which is the reason why Aishwarya Srinivasa Perumal has found his abode in Namadwaar, Houston. He waited for about 10 to 12 years of Mahamantra Kirtan in the Holy Land and then decided to descend to show the fruit of Nama is Archavatara worship. And Archavatara worship is inseparable from divine Nama Kirtanam. And Nama Kirtanam, when we say Shravanam and Smaranam, is Antargatam. It is very much included into Nama Sankirtanam. That's why we say Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Nama Sankirtana is the heart which links this wonderful Shravanam, which is the trigger for Nama Sankirtana, and Smaranam, which is the result of Nama Sankirtana. Of course, everybody wants to have the Sparanam of Bhagavan in our heart all the times. But how can we do that? Dhyeyo Narayana Sada means constant Narayana Sankirtana leads to constant Smarana of Narayana. Both are not different. And hence Sri Bodhendra Swamiji, our own Sri Anna and our Sri Swamiji Guruji shows Dhyeyo Narayana Sata means Sata Govinda Nama Kirtanam. And that leads us to the constant contemplation of Bhagavan, of Perumal, of Narayana. So two important Gati, or the only refuge for us in Kali Yuga is Govinda Nama Kirtana and Govinda Darshanam in form of our Srinivasa Perumal's Darshanam whenever we get time. And we have been seeing in the past weeks how Bhagavan, out of his tremendous compassion, decides to descend in Bhuloka. He always uses the prayer of a Guru. Narada Maharshi is the very epitome, very embodiment of Guru Tattva. Narada Maharshi comes to Kshirabdi, which is informally the office of our Perumal. And Narada Maharshi does a wonderful stuti. In fact, there is a wonderful Madhurageetham which summarizes Narada Maharshi's stuti. We will see when we have a direct satsang in front of our beloved Aishwarya Srinivasa Perumal. In that our Swamiji says, Shrunumama Vachanam Srinivasa Srinivasa. In that he enlists all the 10 avatars and says, Hey Perumal, it is you who have taken all these avatars for the uplift of this world. Exactly like how Narada Maharshi did stuti for Perumal. Perumal immediately said, Yes, I have decided to descend, Narada Maharshi. Tell me a place. Narada Maharshi asks Perumal, how are you going to descend? In which form? Perumal says, I am going to take a form which is going to only shower compassion and grace. Without even a tinge of nigraha, with abundance of anugraha, this is how I am going to descend. as Archavatara. Narada Maharshi's heart melted when he heard the compassion of Bhagavan. Narada Maharshi suggested that he descend in the banks or near the river of Swarnamukhi in the middle of Divyadesa, just above our current Tamil Nadu. And he says that is a place which is truly afflicted with poverty, with the lands are infertile, the rains are infrequent. That's where you need to indwell, you see. And Bhagavan said, Narada Maharshi, very nice of you to send me to a, generally in Tamil Nadu we say a punishment is you will be banished into a waterless forest. Sorry for the transliteration. Tannila kaadu we say na. Generally we say when you do something very wrong in office, ona tannila kaatla maathiru. But here Bhagavan out of his compassion chose such an infertile, dry land. And Narada Maharshi asked him to descend there. Bhagavan mockingly asked Narada Maharshi, is this the way for me to dwell in the earth? I thought you were going to talk about a lush, beautiful green pasture. Narada Maharshi says only the afflicted need the blessings of a benevolent doctor, you see. If people are all nice, people are all doing well, they don't have any sorrows or afflictions, what is the need for Perumal, he says. And Perumal said, this is my heart also, I was just pulling your leg and I am going to descend. Narada Maharshi sang his wonderful glories and he left the place. Our Perumal immediately ordained his most beloved, eternal, inseparable servant. And it is Adisesha. He himself, Anantalvar himself came down with his 7 lovely curves, becomes the 7 hills in Tirumala. And Bhagavan decided to go with all his entourage, with all his companions, eternal companions, Nityas. And we saw the lovely procession in the last week's satsang. Devesha Ganaradita Divyambuja Pada Shri Venkatagiri Shrisha Hecheriga Jagadisha Hecheriga Venkatesha Hecheriga. And we heard the lovely song last satsang through the wonderful young part of our family, Krishna's cottage. This lovely kirtan blessed by a great Yatishwarar who was also a Bhagavata Paramahamsa. And we heard that wonderful song last time. And we said Bhagavan came with his most important inseparable part, which is Sri Shah. He came with our Shridevi, who is the Thayar, the mother of the universe, inseparable from Perumal. And that's where we stopped. And we said we will explore the lovely pasuram of our Alvar, Nammalvar's pasuram. This Nammalvar is unique among the 10-12 Alvars because he is also in the wonderful group or Goshti of Alvars. He is also in the lineage of Acharyas. He is both an Acharya and an Alvar, which is very unique. And all his wonderful songs are the essence of Upanishads, you see. In that, in the 6th centum, they say, Aram Pattu, in that, our Alvar concludes the 6th centum, the 6th 100 pasurams, batch of 100 pasurams, with this incredible embodiment of what surrender should be. So any Srinivasa Perumal you go, the priest, the Bhattacharya, when he is actually showing us our Perumal with the Harati, with a vesper or what you call as light, would tell this pasuram of Alvar so that he would remind us, here is the Lord of the universe, surrender right now to his holy feet. And that is the lovely pasuram of Alvar. AkalakillEn iRaiyum enRu alarmEl mangai uRai mArbA nigaril pugazhAy ulagam mUnRuDaiyAy ennai ALvAnE nigaril amarar munik kaNangaL virumbum thiruvenkadathane புகழ் ஒன்றில்லா அடியேன் உன் அடிக்கீழ் அமர்ந்து புகுந்தேனே. Generally, Alvars, when they go to other Divyadesams, they do what is called as konjal. They will look at Perumal as Krishna and they prattle them, cuddle him. But the moment Alvar comes and has the darshan of our Srinivasa Perumal, immediately, with their hearts melting, they rush towards the feet of Perumal, embrace the feet tightly and say, we have no other refuge, accept my surrender, keep me ever under the shadow of your feet. To look at it poetically. Elsewhere with Perumal, they prattled. But here, they with their hearts rattled, seeing this inseparable mother and the father ever together, quitting the battling with samsara, the deluge, tearfully crying, thou art the sole refuge. That's the bhava of our Alvars. And they especially do their surrender. They offer their surrender with Srinivasa Perumal for a special reason, because this is the unique Perumal where the mother is inseparably finding her abode in the vast and the expansive chest or vakshasthala of our Divine Father, which is Perumal. And that is the right place and the right time to actually do the surrender. Without the presence of mother, the surrender may or may not be complete. With mother, we are assured. I'll give you an example from Ramayana, which we have heard from Purvacharyas. Both Ravana and the son of Indra, Jayanta, did apachara to our Thayar. And Thayar was equally, Thayar means mother in our Paribhasha. Thayar was equally grace-filled with both these apacharis. And Ravana's apachara, if you ask our Puri Acharyas, is actually an iota lesser than Jayanta's apachara. Our Ramana did not touch our Thayar. He could not, you know about the curse and all that. Jayanta went and attacked Thayar. Yet, Jayanta was spared, Kakasura. Ravana was not spared. Our Ramachandra Prabhu took off all the 10 heads of Ravana, and Jayanta was spared. Why? Mahatmas say, because when Jayanta went and fell at the feet of divinity, Thayar was there next to Ramachandra Prabhu, hence he was spared. In the Ramachandra Prabhu and Ravana's Yuddham, Thayar was not present, so she couldn't save him. akalakillEn iRaiyum enRu. akalakillEn iRaiyum enRu means not even for a fraction of a second. iRaiyum means the time we take to blink our eyes, blink. That half a second, even for half a second, our Thayar says, I shall not be separate from you. I shall not leave you. akalakillEn iRaiyum enRu. That's the time when Thayar is there in the Vakshasthala of Perumal. That's when we need to do our surrender. Again, Ramayanam is Sharanagati Shastram. What can we do? We have to take Ramayanam only to understand the complete flavor, the complete depth of Sharanagati. Our Ramachandra Prabhu, along with our Ilayalvar, Perumal. Ramachandra Prabhu is called Perumal. And that's why the various wonderful pasurams which covered Ramachandra Prabhu's glory, beauty, grandness, etc. are called Perumal Tirumozhi. When our Ramachandra Prabhu along with Ilayalvar and our Sita Mata decides for Vanavasa, they leave. And they are already in the precincts of Chitrakutam. And Ramachandra Prabhu, being Ramachandra Prabhu, one day in Chitrakutam, before Bharata Alvar came and offers his Sharanagati and gets the Paduka, this happens before that in Ayodhya Kanda. Ramachandra Prabhu one day was very sad, with tremendous sorrow-laden heart. He calls ALvAnE, Lakshmana Swami, and says, Lakshmana, I don't know how much my mother, our mothers are suffering in Ayodhya. I think it will be very good if you can go there on my behalf and be a source of solace to our mothers in Ayodhya. The moment Ramachandra Prabhu said that, our Lakshmana Swami became very nervous. Immediately he fell at the feet of Ramachandra Prabhu. And whenever he falls at the feet of Ramachandra Prabhu, you know what he does? Even before they left for Ayodhya, this is what Lakshmana Swami did. Sabhratrus charanau gadam nipidya raghunandanaha Sitam uvacha atishayasham Raghavam cha mahavratam Sabhratus charanau gadam nipidya raghunandanaha Sitam uvacha atishayasham Raghavam cha mahavratam. Even when he was supplicating to our Sri Raghava, to our Perumal, Chakravarti's son, that he should be taken along with our Ramachandra Prabhu and Thayar to the forest in Ayodhya, what he did was, Bratus Charanau Gadam Nipidya Raghunandanaha. Lakshmana Swami caught hold of Ramachandra Prabhu's feet tightly when Ramachandra Prabhu started refusing. And he did not agree to the entreaties of our Lakshmana Swami to follow him to the forest. At that point of time, our Valmiki Bhagavan writes, Sitam uvachati yasham ragavam cha mahavratam. He was lying on the floor, holding the feet of Raghava, our beloved Ramachandra Prabhu, but in the corner of the eye, he was supplicating to Sita Mata. He was looking at Sita Mata and talking to Ramachandra Prabhu. Why? It is called in Paribhasha, in the parlance of Bhakti, it's called Purushakaram. To pray for a recommendation from somebody who has taken who has taken a permanent residence in the heart of Bhagavan. When the Purushakara is there, even Bhagavan won't say no. So Lakshmana Swami in Chitrakuta, again he is falling at the feet of our Ramachandra Prabhu. And then, with this corner of the eye, pleading to Sita Mata to intervene, he is crying to Ramachandra Prabhu, Nacha Sita Tvaya Hina, Nachaham api Raghava, Muhurtam api Jivavo, Jalan Matsyavi Vodruto. Hey Ramachandra Prabhu, neither me or my mother, which is Sita Mata, can ever be separated from you even for a muhurta, even for a second. Like a fish which is thrown out of water, cannot survive. You want me to go to Ayodhya to tell that Ramachandra Prabhu is all right, and you want me to inquire about their welfare, and maybe you will allow me to come back and tell me about their well-being, etc. But if the fish is thrown out of water, it can't even undertake the journey. Forget going there and coming back with the news. So your very intent can't be fulfilled through me, because I can't, not even for a second, not even for a time taken to blink an eye, can I survive without you. And he does the supplication in the presence of Sita Mata, Purushakara. And here Alvar is supplicating that I am falling at your feet, and please bless me with refuge. I am completely giving myself up in surrender. And where is he doing it? In the Sannadhi of Sri Srinivasa Perumal. You see, with the Purushakara of Shridevi. He is saying, akalakillEn iRaiyum enRu alarmEl mangai uRai mArbA. He is saying, now that you are present with my beloved mother, who would never forsake me, I am going to boldly supplicate my Sharanagati, because I know now it will be 100% approved because of my kripa of my mother. And this is the lesson from Ramayana. This is the lesson from our Vedas also. Even Vedamata says that our mother Shridevi is never separated from Bhagavan Srinivasa. So here our Shridevi went and supplicated to Perumal, I shall never leave you. akalakillEn, akalakillEn. Not even for half a second, the time it takes for the eyes to blink. Bhagavan says, why do you want this? I will give you a lovely separate Sannidhi. In many temples, our Thayar Sannidhi is separate, you see. So our Perumal says, be next to me, na? I am in the Garbhagraha, or I am in the main temple's Moola Graham. You are just a few feet away from me in a separate temple. Tanikovil Nachiyar is what we say in Tamil. And our Thayar said, no way, no, I don't want a separate house. Why? People are not to be trusted. Like Ravana, you left me and you went in search of some deer, and I was in a different place, you were in a different place. Ravana came and separated us for 10 months. Can't trust others. Okay? Like our Uppaliyappa Perumal, who is also Srinivasa, why don't you just stand beside me? Even then, our Thayar said, no, I don't want to do that. Why? Pangaya Tiruvayum Parar. When our Gajendra Alvar screamed out, Narayana Akila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. Our Bhagavan gingerly, without waking up Sridevi, quietly moved away. And without even disturbing her, went, because an elephant called. When an elephant cried out, you ensured that you had to rush immediately, and you left me. Why? Because I was separate from you. That's why you left me. So I don't even want to stand beside you. I want to sit in your Vakshasthalam. I want at all point of time, at all states, all avastha, I want to be inseparable from you. Where do you want to sit? I want to sit in your Vakshasthala. And our Sri Suktam in our Vedamata, she also says, Lakshmim Anapagaminim. Vedamata says, Anapagaminim, one who is inseparable from Perumal. Perumal says, look here, I am a little dark colored, Neelamegha Shyamlan. You are like a golden, Hiranya Varnam Harinim. You are like a golden hue, you are like a golden shining, and shining like gold is your Swarupa. If you sit in my chest, they can't see me at all, they will see only you first. So please don't sit like that. Lot of people will come to Tirupala, there will be a lot of crowd. If you sit in my chest, will it be nice? People will see only, not me. And that's what happened in another place, Gopapuri Kshetra, Tirukovalur. The first 3 Alvars, first Sakshatkara. The first Archavatara's Sakshatkara, not as Archavatara. Archavatara giving a divine Sakshatkara to Alvars. Archavatara Sakshatkara, we all are fortunate. You come inside Namadwaar, just walk a few steps, you will have Sakshatkara for Srinivasa Perumal. So simple. But Archavataram wanted Alvar Sakshatkara. So instead of waiting for the Alvars to come to the temple, our Perumal there, Ulagalanda Perumal, Trivikrama Perumal, decided to come to the place where the Alvars came. You see, the 3 Alvars, they came on their own accord. They didn't come together. They came from various directions. They were going all around the Divyadesams. Each of them came and they all landed up late in the night in this Gopapuri, Tirukovalur Kshetra. There was this small house, in that there was a small passage. In that passage, it seems 3 can stand, 2 can sit, 1 can lie down. So first Alvar came, And then he lied down. And a few minutes later, the second Alvar came and said, can I also be accommodated here? The first Alvar said, aha, bhagyam, Parama Vaishnava has come. So both of them sat down. Then the third Alvar came and says, can I also join this wonderful goshti? They said, beautiful. All the three stood. So all the three were together. All the three were singing the glories of Perumal, discussing the glories of Perumal, and they were waiting for the dawn to break so that they can go to the temple for darshan. But they were waiting for the dawn, but our Perumal could not wait for the dawn to break because he wanted to come and have the darshan of these three Alvars. Why? Because Nakam vasami vaikunte na yogi hridaye ravav Bhaktaha means plural, three. Yatra gayanti tatra tishtami narada, three Alvars. They were together singing the wonderful glories of Perumal. Perumal came rushing. When three of them were already, sort of tight, the place was tight. And they were already trying to adjust. Suddenly there was a fourth person trying to, push himself inside in this already congested area. And the first thing they saw was not Perumal. Thiru kanden, ponmeni kanden, tigazhum arukkanani niramum kanden. First thing they saw was a golden flash. They said, who is this fourth person trying to come in? First they saw Pushpavalli Thayar, Gopapuri Thayar. Why? Thiru kanden. Instead of saying ponnali kanden, puri sangam kai kanden, first Thiru kanden, ponmeni kanden. So Perumal is saying, like it is going to happen in future. People are going to notice only you first. And you are going to stand before me like this. She says, absolutely. You know why? When a child is expected to come and join the father, who will come running first to welcome the child to the feet of the father? The mother will come running first. The father will come behind only. Na? If your child is coming from a faraway land, I bet it is the mother who takes few steps forward than the father to receive the child because of that tremendous compassion and love and affection. Likewise, akalakillEn iRaiyum enRu alarmEl mangai uRai mArbA. Our Shridevi Thayar, she decided to take the abode of our Vakshasthala of Perumal like a dark cloud is our Srinivasa Perumal. And our Thayar is like a golden streak, like a golden flash of lightning. In fact, in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, our Shukamuni is relishing this in form of a Rudrageetham in that context. When our Sri Rudra is beautifully describing our Perumal, Simhaskanda Dvisho Vibrat Saubaga Griva Kaustubham, like a lion's arms is our Srinivasa Perumal. And a brilliant Kaustubham in his neck. Saubaga Griva Kaustubham. And the wonderful earrings are adding the splendor to his divine neck. And then our Bhagavatam gives the same bhava. Shriyan anapainya kshipta vikasha smora sollasat. Shriya anapainya. Anapainya means one who is inseparable. Our Bhagavatam says, akalakillEn iRaiyum enRu. Like our Alvar said, Bhagavatam said, our Perumal, very beautiful rasam. Generally, you have a stone which is used to rub the gold to see whether the gold is 24 karat or 22 karat or just not gold at all. So you have a rubbing stone, like a grinding stone, you rub it. Here it is said that when you keep rubbing gold onto the dark black stone, obviously the stone has to be in a contrast color for us to see if there is a rake of gold when it is rubbed into the stone. When the stone is rubbed constantly, what happens is it has this small rake of gold permanently implanted in it. And our Shukamuni says, Shriya anapayinya kshipta vikasha smora sollasat. That Bhagavan's urasa ullasaha kshobhamanam, that our Shri is giving shobhanam, a luster to the broad chest, Vakshasthala of our Perumal, like how a small rake of gold gets permanently attached to the rubbing stone which is dark in color. akalakillEn iRaiyum enRu alarmEl mangai uRai mArbA. Here very beautifully he sings alarmEl mangai uRai mArbA. How is she sitting in the chest? alarmEl mangai. Very gently, very softly, komala. And his chest is like a flower. alarmEl mangai uRai mArbA. Chest is so soft, so gentle because Thayar has to sit na. nigaril pugazhAy. One of the 6 qualities of Bhaga is Pugal, Yashas. And he has an Yashas which is incomparable. In all the 3 worlds he is known. There is not a world where he is not celebrated. Ulagam mUnRuDaiyAy ennai ALvAnE. Ulagam mUnRuDaiyAy. Generally, when you say uDaiyAy, uDaiyAy means you are the Lord of the 3 worlds. The 3 worlds are your belongings. Generally, when a very, very, very rich person, incredibly rich, imagine, if that person has so much belongings and properties, property, he is the owner, Swami, Swat means property. Generally, if there is a small patch of land in a remote village, he may not show much attention. He won't ask, is this 100 square feet land, have you put cultivation in that remote village near, say, Chengalpet and all, he won't ask. But our Perumal is ulagam mUnRuDaiyAy. He constantly monitors. He constantly watches. He constantly takes care of all his belongings. In a lighter vein, though it is true, they say, even if a remote devotee privately prays Perumal that I will offer my hair, tonsure of my hair when I come to Tirupati next, and then changes his mind, our Perumal will ensure that somehow he will lose all his hair, he will become bald. Why? Because he doesn't want even that remotest devotee to get that taint of making a promise and transgressing it. You see, ulagam mUnRuDaiyAy, he is watching you, he is watching me with the same intensity as he would watch, Sada Pashyanti Suryaha, these Vaikuntavasis. And our Guru Maharaj used to say, he is watching everything, from the smallest to the biggest. He is the one who ensures that the satsangs happen on time. And don't be intimidated, he is also watching whether you are coming regularly to the satsang or not. Compassionate, so don't worry. And so he watches everything, ulagam mUnRuDaiyAy. He would count everybody. 1,000 people came. Next year during Utsava, why did this one person not come this year? Ulagam mUnRuDaiyAy. ennai ALvAnE. Our Swami is always looking at us constantly with interest. So if we promise something, he will ensure he will get what we promise with interest. nigaril amarar munik kaNangaL virumbum Venkateshwara. ennai ALvAnE means that he is my Lord. He is the one who takes care of me in all walks of life, in all forms. ennai ALvAnE. He is my Swami. nigaril amarar munik kaNangaL virumbum Venkateshwara. nigaril amarar munik kaNangaL. He is saying Devas and great Munis are constantly attracted, are constantly flocking him because they have this tremendous pull towards him. And these are not normal Devas, these are not normal Munis, like our Purusha Shukta says, Yatra Purve Sadhya Santi Deva. These are people who are Nityas, they are Nityasuris, they are Vaikuntavasis. So they are Nityas and Muktas. They nigaril amarar munik kaNangaL. So Nitya and Mukta of Vaikunta, they flock towards Tirumalai. Tiruvenkadathane. They are not just happy being in Vaikunta, because Vaikunta Pati Tekta Parananda Vaikunta Vasam. Bhagavan left Vaikunta to come to be with us in the so-called Samsarana in Tirumala. So the Vaikunta Vasis come and flock around Perumal. And Perumal has come down for our sake. And so how much we should go and flock around him to offer our Sharanagati to him. So here Alvar says, Pugal ondrilla adiyenun adikil amarndu pugundene. Pugal ondrilla adiyen. I have no other sadhana, I have no other Sharanya. Pugal ondrilla. I don't have any other means to attain you except Sharanagati. I don't have anybody else to surrender unto except you. So no other sadhana, no other Sharanya but you. Ananya Gati. Ananya Nishtai. Adiyen, he says, I am already your servant. I already belong to you. I have already surrendered unto you. And what I am going to do? Un adikir pugurnd amarndene. When I say adikir pugurnd means I have prapadye. Sharanam prapadye is adikir. Amarndu pugundene. Pugundene means I have surrendered. Amarndu means, very beautiful bhava. Swami Vedanta Desika Swami's wonderful stotras talk about this bhava. He says, I want Vaikunta deha vasane. When my deha drops, then I want Vaikunta. Generally, when we surrender, if the intensity of surrender is 100%, immediately Bhagavan can give Vaikunta. If there is prarabdha karma after surrender, we have some of these papa punya left, then prarabdha karma, even jnanis have, they say, so they have to fulfill the prarabdha karma, then only attain Vaikunta. Now here is a Mahatma, a great Acharya Purusha, who says, I want Vaikunta during Dehavasanam. Why? Is it because there is no arti, there is no intensity of surrender, or is there some prarabdha karma left? Both are not correct when it comes to a great Acharya Purusha like Swami Vedanta Desika Swami. Here what it really means is, it is not because of prarabdha karma. Sharanagati can burn that also. Obviously it is not a lack of intensity. Artha prapatti is not the problem. It is because these Acharya Purushas and Alvars want Kainkaryam. They want to serve Perumal in Tirumala before they can rush to Vaikunta. And so our Alvar says, Amarndu, I am not going to just come to Vaikuntam just like that. I want to be in Tirumala. I want to do Kainkarya for our Srinivasa Perumal in whatever way possible. And then when the time comes, let me go there. Na? Our Swami Vedanta Deshika Swami says, when he is glorifying our Sri Varadaraja Perumal, he says, this Varadaraja Perumal Sannidhi is Vaikunta for me. That samsara has become Vaikunta for me. Why? Because I am in your Sannidhi, na? So for these Mahatmas, Bhaktas and Sri Vaishnavas, the Archavatara Seva, Archavatara Kainkarya itself is the total cessation of samsara. You see. And so, Amarndu Pugundene. The same bhava of Sharanagati, our Swamiji is also praying in a lovely song. And he is crying his heart out. How do we know that? In the raga, which is Mukhari. Mukhari is a raga where you can cry out your heart, when you can open your heart with all its emotion. Here Alvar said, Un adikil amarndu pugundene. Our Swamiji says, I am not even asking so much. I am not saying, let me stay permanently in your feet. In fact, he is saying, Kshanamatra vasam dekhi Shri Venkatesha tava mandire ye Kshanamatra vasam. Give me 1 second of vasam, abode, of stay in your divine mandiram. Kamaye nanyam hridaye satyam Kshamasva mama aparadha saghasram. I don't want anything else. There is not even the smallest desire apart from this in my heart. Satyam. And please forgive all my aparadhas. And then comes the Purushakara. This is the center of the song. Padmavati Ramana Pankajalochana Pashyamam Kripaya Swamin Kshanamatra Vasam Dehi. Padmavati Ramana, Srinivasa, why don't you look at me with your grace-filled eyes and bestow this desire of mine? Here, when our Swamiji is asking for Bhagavat Kataksham, he wants the presence of our Thayar. Padmavati Ramana Pankajalochana. Pashyamam Kripaya Swamin. Swamin Adiyen. So you are Swamin. And so he is saying, please look at me with Kripa. And then Swamiji uses the words from Ramayanam. Palaya palaya dinamabalam. When our Thayar, our Sita Mata is in this tremendous misery in the Ashokavana, Deenam Pratibratam, you see the same words, Abalam, Deenam. I am Deena, I am Abala. Puraya murALIdhara kamam says, please fulfill this desire of mine. There is no other desire. A simple, lovely song, crying the heart out, to pray for Bhagavan to bestow a second of Vasam. That's what I want. That is it's called atraMai. There is no equivalent in English. The peak of longing, yearning, crying is called atraMai. When that happens, we ask for, give me at least muraLIdhara en munnalva. That is what is atraMai. When we go in the path of bhakti, we will understand. When that longing becomes so much, even one small sign, one small smile, one small gesture from Perumal is what they pray for. So here he is asking, give me 1 second of Vasam in your charana. That is the beauty of this akalakillEn iRaiyum enRu alarmEl mangai uRai mArbA. And Purvacharyas have given a commentary to say that this pasuram is the very embodiment of a very important mantra in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya called Dvayam. Or it is also called the Periya Thirumandiram, as it is called, where our Shridevi's mention is there in the second, there is a Ragasya Trayam, in that the second Ragasya mantra. This mantra I can't tell it in a public forum because it has to be initiated from a guru, but I will tell you the meaning. Here, it is actually a mantra which says that I completely surrender to the lotus feet of Sriman Narayana Charano. In that, Sriman Narayana is very beautifully shown in this pasuram, akalakillEn iRaiyum. You see, akalakillEn iRaiyum means that even for half a second I will not be separated from you. In Sanskritam, instead of saying Sri Narayana, they say Sri Man Narayana. Na? Sanskrit grammar has a pratyaya called Madhu pratyaya. It means Nitya Sambandha. That's what it means. So instead of saying Sri Narayana, he says Sri Man Narayana because akalakillEn iRaiyum. alarmEl mangai. That's why it is Sri. And Sriman Narayana. Adikil amarndu pugundene is the charano, sharanam. Pugunden is prapadye. And once you do that, when you offer yourself to Perumal, even when you offer a small flower to Perumal, you always tell an archana, na? Shri Vishnave Namaha. The ALvAnE offered himself to Perumal. he did that with a small archana. Srimate Narayanaya Namaha, completing the Dvayam. So here, this pasuram has completely encompassed the entire Sharanagati Shastra, and it is the very epitome of our Srinivasa Perumal, and it shows our relationship with Perumal. So it's a very significant pasuram, and I am sure from now on we will chant this lovely little pasuram before our Aishwarya Srinivasa Perumal. With understanding its meaning, it makes us even more soulful to offer our Sharanagati to Perumal. Next time when all of us come before Perumal, let us chant this wonderful pasuram and offer ourselves to Perumal's feet so that he completely accepts us under the shadow of his feet. Our Krishna cottage children or a Krishna cottage member would sing this wonderful Madhurageetham of our Swamiji. You can also follow and relate it to the pravachan here. Remember, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. We did the Shravana of the bhava of akalakillEn. We will do the Kirtana of Madhurageetham, and that will lead us to the Smaranam. Each time we sing the song, would we ever forget the lovely bhava of surrender, which is beautifully espoused in this song. akalakillEn iRaiyum enRu alarmEl mangai uRai mArbA nigaril pugazhAy ulagam mUnRuDaiyAy ennai ALvAnE nigaril amarar munik kaNangaL virumbum Venkateshwara புகழ் ஒன்றில்லாடியேன் உன் அடிக்கீழ் அமர்ந்து புகுந்தேனே. ரமண கோவிந்தா கோவிந்தா. सद्गुरु महाराज की जय.
गोपिका जीवन स्मरणं गोविंदा गोविंदा. सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. क्षणमात्रवासं देहि क्षणमात्रवासं देहि श्री वेंकटेश तव मंदिरे श्री वेंकटेश तव मंदिरे क्षणमात्रवासं देहि कामये स्मरणं
गोविंद गोविंद
सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की
जय।